Hello. Today, on this very special stage, I'd like to ask everyone who listens to me to think of at least one woman who will be irreplaceable in our lives. I also would like to take a short pause so those who listen to me could name and imagine the special women who had already vanished because of their undiagnosed or misdiagnosed heart condition. I feel very grateful to be able to use this stage to address to many people who are unaware of the great health risk that millions of women face. In fact, I won't be surprised that majority of people would have a hard time naming the number one killer of women that kills more women than all cancers combined. This underpublicized medical crisis is around women-specific heart disease. And the gruesome reality is that every third woman in your life is currently destined to be a victim of this crisis because of the fact of the absence of the mere diagnostic tools in the majority of the hospitals. Such audacity is a part of our life due to gender inequality that results in the lack of the research on women's hearts, despite the evident differences. According to Dr. Mertz, the founder of Barbara Streisand Women Cardiovascular Research Center, quarter to half of women's heart conditions remain undiagnosed. In practical terms, it means that millions of unsuspecting women are sent home, often to die, due to no mere attempt for the gender-specific diagnosis, due to the false negative tests that simply don't attempt to target their gender-specific heart problems. And my horrific personal experience of facing women-specific heart disease confirms this recently posted data from Barbara Streisand Research and Education Center. After a car accident with drunk driver that followed by a sudden heart attack, my life had dramatically changed. Today, on this stage, next to this magnificent stand, I appear not only as an internationally recognized music educator, but I take the time to sound the most urgent alarm and to call for your attention due to having an obligation and at the same time gratitude for being able to live today and pray for tomorrow. I speak about the subject out of the despair about the fact that in the local hospitals, in this one of the country's and likely the world's most affluent community, San Francisco Bay Area, there were not only no help for my urgent heart condition. No, instead of expected compassionate and qualified help, the medical professionals would not acknowledge the problem to me. No, not just lack of help, but instead, they repeatedly committed outright fraud, trying to deny the very fact of my heart attack, not listing the significant complications and important matters of my hospitalization in my medical history, thus endangering my life even more. When a dear to you woman has an alarming heart pain, nothing can be worse retaliation of an angry doctor at the patient who sadly knows more than her medical inept and cruel staff. Once such outrageous lack of compassion and logic even led to my false imprisonment from my hospital bed, since the medics failed to call for cardiologists and instead called for security guards to demand that I get off my bed at once. Upon the false negative tests for my heart pain, dismissing the danger and bluntly violating the stroke protocol and other life-saving rules. Notably, upon my release from jail, the retaliation went on. My evening gown was withheld. How ironic that I wore it to bring public attention to the issue at a large community gala. That was several years after having to live through being disconnected from the heart monitor, refused oxygen, while being addressed as a person whose imagination simply makes up the heart pain during my heart attack hospitalization. I was banned from cardiology department care access. I was refused heart tests. A cardiologist instead dragged me up the stairs, and when I collapsed with pain, he left me there, sitting alone. In addition, the regular method of deepening the retaliation against women whom medics are unable to help is the blame of some sort of pathological imagination of heart pain, if not the false accusation in so-called black insanity. In addition to the excruciating physical pain of alarming nature. After surviving many horrific and rather surreal episodes of the most illogical operation of the medical staff at the hospitals, I have a very special survivor's message to everyone who cherishes at least one woman, and of course to all women. It is too late to advocate for women's life when she is subjected to the wrong heart catheterization procedure at the emergency heart cath lab at the time of possibly taking time to deal with urgent heart issues. The website Fight the Lady Killer, produced by the foundation formed by the visionary of our time, Barbara Streisand, states the important fact: the majority of population, including the women, don't relate to the problem as their own, don't recognize that they are at a major lethal risk, and are not willing to make a priority for this life-saving matter. What is the reason for such state of absence of the natural self-preservation instinct, one might ask? Most sadly, I had discovered that our trust we extend to the hospital staff is often violated by the merciless hospital policies that are made to do nothing with the patient's health benefits. It is hard for me to say at this moment why exactly the doctors had failed their oath of Hippocrates. Who had pressured them to act heartlessly when it came to the critical time of dealing with potentially lethal danger of my heart condition? There may be various reasons for people to take action and to deal with this problem. And one may be the compound trauma that in turn results in the increasing apathy in our society and in the disbelief into our personal and collective power to change the world for the better. Sadly, today's reality is that at the time of critical threat to a woman's heart, millions of women will lose lives due to the cruelty and absurdity of women's inequality in the medical field, resulting in the lack of gender-specific research on women's hearts. And as a survivor of this horrific life threat, I have an urgent message to share. I feel obligated to share the fact that it is too late to advocate for a cherished by you woman and her life when she is a subject of the gender irrelevant, urgent emergency procedure at the heart catheterization lab, as well as afterwards. We have to take the proactive stand and must face the reality of the overwhelming corruption in the medical field, combined with the lacking patient-oriented and compassion-based attitude. The reality is that at the moment, no one will do this for us and on our behalf with honesty and integrity. Today, I'm on this stage to remind that those who had committed the iconic feminist efforts of all times, like, for example, Saint Jeanne d'Arc or Joan of Arc, would be shocked by the fact that the same cruel methods of the witch hunt are still in place. Maybe women are not burned at stake. However, women who raise their single voice may be a subject of retaliation. And yet, our voices matter and they cannot be dismissed if they are heard in a powerful choir. Of course, by committing Saint Jeanne d'Arc to burning at stake, the evildoers wanted to scare other women from taking similar to her actions. But we will not give up our power. We will, in fact, reclaim it. And we will continue our fight for our lives. Today, when I choose my music pieces for my public presentations and performances, I think about how would they help me communicate the alarm to millions of women who are currently at a great risk of dying from undiagnosed heart condition. And I believe that a great solution for raising awareness about this very urgent subject is multidisciplinary examination of the anatomy of the lacking positive changes in the medical institutions and the retaliatory witch hunt against the women change makers. In other words, I invite everybody to follow my example and contribute artistic expressions on the subject that is dear to every woman's heart. I ask you to support my call for creating the Presidential Task Force to address this monumental issue of women's inequality in our time and in this technologically advanced country. Please help spread our message and wear our t-shirts and gift them to your friends. Being passionate about this issue is the key solution in our dispassionate world. It is incomprehensible, but sadly true, that instead of being shielded from stress, those medical professionals and public servants to whom I had to plead for help had created so much more trauma, at times deliberately and in violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. It is also alarming that most of the times these lacking human consciousness people acted as if they could not imagine that their own loved ones would share the same fate one day because of the lacking of their own action now. We need to spread this message of public awareness. You can help us. Join us on Facebook and stay tuned for the detailed narratives, as well as sign up for the Action Awards. Also, your true survivor stories or stories of those you know can help spread awareness and propel the change. So I'd like to invite you once again to be proactive and use the arts to raise consciousness about this very critical issue in the lives of millions of women and those dear ones in your life. It is because of the fact that the tremendous amount of stress and trauma of dealing with retaliation would have taken my life unless I had a very special shield and the magic of the recovery proven by the ages, my gift of transformative music. So I hope you follow my heart's musical message and pass it on. Thank you.